You ever notice how God gets quiet right when you want him to get loud? You just want to speak to me, God, right? You start feeling desperate. And it's because you're praying for answers and you hear nothing. You beg for direction and you feel distance. You want that burning bush clarity, yet you get stillness that feels like abandonment. But what if that silence is an absence? What if the silence is the voice, just not the language? Because see, sometimes God doesn't speak to be heard. Ready? He speaks to be felt. Now, let me tell you how I learned this, right? Because there were nights I was worshiping, hoping for words, and got nothing but breath. Mornings I asked for signs, pay attention, and got sunrise. There were days I begged and begged and begged for instruction and got conviction. Now, if I'm being real, this frustrated me, made me doubt myself, felt unworthy. I was convinced I gotta be missing something. Or even worse, which hurts even deeper, I was convinced God was missing me. And then without trying, suddenly, silence stopped feeling empty. It started to feel full, like God wasn't gone, but yet he was right here in my chest. He was just waiting for me to stop talking long enough to listen. So let's architect this. Let's open the system. It's Black Book time. This is Black Book Part 1, the Silence Protocol. Silence is not a void. It's a system bandwidth upgrade. Think of it like this. When spirit moves you to quiet, God is clearing interference. He's updating firmware, removing ego noise, and preparing the vessel, you as the vessel. Now, God won't shout over wounds. He waits until the frequency can receive. So in that way, silence is not punishment, it's calibration. Think about that. Really think about that. And let me ask you straight. Has God been silent, or has your world just been loud and you've been hiding in the noise because silence would force obedience? Are you even uncomfortable with the idea of obedience? I was. Because see, sometimes heaven is speaking and God is being very clear with you, but anxiety has the mic. Let's go on to Black Book 2, the neuroscience of the whisper. Your brain has two primary listening modes. The first is survival listening. That hears the threat. The second is spiritual listening. That hears truth. So now, when you're anxious, angry, comparing, rushing, your nervous system prioritizes protection, not revelation. So now silence, it forces a state shift. Stillness lowers cortisol. Breath increases coherence. Presence reopens the channel. Not meditation, at least in traditional format. I'm talking SIP activation, spiritual interoperability protocol. Watch it. Still the body, calm the breath, open the signal. Silence is not empty. It is pregnant with direction. This is why the moment you finally sit still, no phone, no music, you didn't hear God speak. You felt conviction rise instead. So let's do this together real quick. Look back at your life honestly. When did you grow most? And don't tell me you've never grown. We've all grown. When did you grow the most? When God explained or when God withheld? When did faith get built? not the faith they passed you, the faith you have in yourself. When did it get built? When you understood or when you had to trust? Because clarity rarely comes before movement. Clarity comes as movement. Black Book 3. The language of quiet, thunder. Hear the thunder. Great song, right? God speaks in many dialects. Conviction, you just know. Only you. It's just for you. That's how conviction works. Timing, doors start to open and close. Peace, that weighted inner yes. Friction, the no you keep ignoring. Discomfort, evolution disguised. Opportunity, alignment revealing itself. Dream state, subconscious downloads. Silence, the loudest classroom. You see, silence is not absence. It is the operating room. And God does his deepest work when your tongue is still and your spirit is awake. Now, this is the moment where we go to the deeper reflection zone. Let's slow it all the way down and let's sit with these next few questions real slow, real slow. Let me ask you this. What if everything you're waiting for is waiting for you to quiet down? What if God already answered, just not in words? What if the silence you fear is the presence you prayed for? Heavy, heavy, heavy. And when you're ready, let's bring this in close together as one. Because knowing God is quiet doesn't help if you can't hear quiet. And we know none of this matters tomorrow if your tomorrow's noise stay louder than God's whisper. You ready? You feeling the shift, baby? Because it's that time to do you. So let's do you and let's do it together. 5 moves, 1 consciousness, faith meets functionality. Now, if you ever wonder why I get so geeky excited over this, it's because I like solutions. I like getting to the part where if you have a problem, we figure it out. So let's start with disrupt. Pause the scroll, pause the noise, step outside, and breathe. Incorporate that into your lifestyle. Disrupt the noise. Then you want to own it. Claim silence as sacred, not scary. How about you try saying this? God is here, even when God is quiet. Then you want to yield. Stop demanding answers. Let presence be enough. Then you want to observe. Watch what rises in stillness. Thought, memory, conviction, peace. Then you want to unleash. Move on the whisper. It can be a small step, but it must be immediate obedience. Faith is action, not feeling. Because when you learn to hear God in silence, you stop begging for signs and you start becoming one. This is how faith matures. This is how consciousness evolves. This is how God speaks to those who listen. This is how you bring you back. This is how you bring God back. That is how you move 5 times. That is how you create one consciousness. My beautiful community of influencers, let's bring it all home together as one through God, the all, the infinite. May your spirit become quiet enough to feel the thunder behind the whisper. May you stop fearing silence and start recognizing it as encounter. May God meet you in the stillness and move you without noise. Tonight, we don't chase a word. We become the room God speaks in. So BYB, bring you back. BGB, bring God back. Because you own it or be owned by it. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.